So after Sky came out, I started to have no hopes for the rest of the series. I thought, okay, that's it, I'm done. No more Sarah Jane, the show is gone. Not even the look of the trailer for the next episode got me interested. But I managed to get the courage to watch our next edition, The Curse of Clyde Langer. And after watching it, it's much better than the previous episode. I thought, alright, now we're back in business. After a weird shenanigan of fish raining from the skies, the investigation leads to the Museum of Culture, where the ancient god Hetekumtek may offer answers. Yet when Clyde touches the Totem Pole, catching a splinter, it has everyone he knows turning savage against him. Therefore he's thrown out of everyone's lives. So alone and abandoned on the streets, Clyde is living rough, cold and hungry. Only one person reaches out to him, a homeless girl named Ellie, and they soon become good friends. But back in Bannerman Road, something seems to go entirely wrong. Will everything be put back to normal? As much as I liked previous character-driven stories with Clyde and his friends, this one really stands out for Clyde. For him, he's left an outcast to everyone he knows. Every moment someone turns against Clyde really is a pain. It's really sad to see everyone close to Clyde turn against him and kick him out, especially Clyde's mother and friends. It's really heartbreaking. This was probably the only time in which I actually bursted into tears. And when we see Clyde's journey to explore the unsocialized side of the world, it feels like we are exploring it for the first time. And we feel the same way he does in every single moment of the episode. And dare I say, Clyde makes a great comic artist. This is actually what I wanted to do when I was in school, and Clyde Langer was one of my inspirations. Now, one of the main things this episode stands out is something I don't think most kids shows or any other TV shows at the time were okay to focus on: the lives of the social and the homeless. I guess the easy way to describe what's great about this story is how Sarah Jane said it. Of all the things she has seen, the most alien world of all is right there, right in our faces, and no one knows because they don't want to. That line alone is what makes this story powerful. Most kids shows and films need to do this. They all need to show that the world isn't always perfect for most people, especially when it comes to the modern day social ill, homeless. I'd consider this an episode to show in the world today, since this type of thing is still occurring. One of the other good things about this episode is the chemistry between Clyde and Ellie. I know I prefer Clyde and Ronnie, but I do like seeing Clyde and Ellie together. Most romances in kids shows are usually slightly forced, but this one is more honest, which is another way to describe this episode. It's honest. We get to see the relationship develop, and it is done honestly and sweetly. Ellie is a well-made character. Even her backstory is good. Her father died and her mother remarried, so she ran away because of the idea. Again, some people do that. Some people don't like changes, so they have to look out for themselves to continue. And that's what she's been doing with Clyde. She's helped him live his life in the streets. I was a bit afraid it was going to be the liar reveal ending where Clyde says his name and Ellie turns against him, which would have been really heartbreaking. But how they actually ended it is even more deep. It was really sad for Clyde to leave Ellie behind. I was like, no, go back, don't go, go back, she's waiting for you. No, it's unbearable. I literally wish that Ellie returns to the show, even if it did continue. I think it would have been cool to see that sort of love triangle between Clyde, Ronnie and Ellie. The supporting characters are good. Clyde's mum, good. The guy from Day of the Clown, good. The homeless people, good. The museum doctor, good. And, I'm gonna say it, I like Sky in this episode. Yeah, I said she's not interested in my last review, and she still isn't. I mean, her delivery is still bland. But honestly, I like what she's doing in this episode. Well, mostly in part 2. I'm glad Sky is the only one who isn't cursed, since she is not a proper human being. And I was glad that she was the only one to make everyone remember Clyde. I'm not gonna lie, there were even times when I was literally rooting for her. Now, as much as I admire this episode, there are still some problems. What's with the whole fish storm? Okay, yeah, it's weird and freaky at the same time, but how they explained it is pretty neat, but it's never brought up again. I mean physically, not metaphorically. In fact, we don't see this type of storm ever again. Which leads me to the Totem Pole. I mean, it looks really impressive. I mean, I like the idea of a native tribe's exhibit being used as part of an alien plot. Even the faces make the whole idea sinister. I also like how every time someone says the name, we get a quick shot of the name highlighted in their eye. I guess Under the Lake got the inspiration from this episode. But I was expecting something a little more threatening. I mean, it's nice when it turns all CGI, and it is cool to see it in the attic, but it doesn't really do much. But I guess I can let that pass because the Totem Pole is not the main focus. There's this thing called the Night Dragon, which is occasionally mentioned in part 2. But I feel for a story this moving, this solid, I should not give away what it is, because I think this is something for the audience to find out for themselves. And when you discover it for yourself, it makes it even more uplifting. But aside from all the problems, this is a powerful, beautiful episode. In fact, this was the 2012 winner of the Writers Guild of Great Britain's Best Children's TV Script Award at the time. That was unheard of. The story allows us to explore Clyde's journey into a darker and sadder side of the world than we can ever think of, that even some people today are experiencing it for the first time. While the story plot was kind of predictable at some places, it still made me cry for Clyde's outcast, and I was happy for when he came back. I've considered this episode a good message that we all need to take care of all types of people. The rich, the poor, the social, the homeless. Even if you can't do it physically, then you can at least take part in some other way. Get involved in a charity event, sign up, make a donation, make a phone call, or do something to make at least one penny matter to make other lives better. And much like for Clyde and Ellie's stories, this is a good proof that even sometimes in the universe, somewhere where we don't expect to find it, there's always hope for anyone in the future.